Hello everybody! On this Saturday we had a new update for Reforged Warcraft 3, so I would like to cover new changes again in this video. At first I thought there were not enough new things to even make a video about, but actually there's more to this patch than I first expected. Let's read the patch notes. We hope everyone that didn't have a weekend plans will join us, especially Mac players, to test this update. So, beta is available now on Mac. Good news for Mac users then. Although to start this testing 10 days before the deadline for release. Well, I have a cheerful message for developers.
Any gods, start praying now.
I personally do not have a Mac, so I can give you my personal report about the state of it. But the reactions I could find on the web were not exactly positive. Here's one example. You can see that the main menu screen is actually missing menu. And there is a gameplay screenshot. While the player's UI looks nice and sharp, graphics seems to be very broken. And here is a fog of war, or rather, grey lines of war. Game being broken is a part of a development, but then again, 10 days to release? Mac users, I think, if you believe in some gods, it's time to pray. Specific changes and improvements. Performance optimization and stability improvements for menus and gameplay. On my part, I can totally confirm this. This patch was a huge performance boost for me. Then again, previous patch was a huge performance ruiner in my case, so it is like this patch fixed the previous patch. It was not a boost for all the players though. Some are reporting unexpected crashes, black screens, etc. to the point where the game is sadly unplayable for them. As well in the previous patch they boasted about how map loading time was significantly decreased, while I barely noticed it. After the Saturday patch, loading time of the maps was decreased for me by a good half of the time, and surprisingly there is no mention about it in the patch notes. But they are mentioning locale fonts updates, yes. Bug fixes. All locales have a functioning voiceover and a portrait animation again, yes, second time. Classic camera restored. Dev note, the camera position moved by 10%. When we started drawing the game full screen to support the new console UI, the original game stopped drawing where it met the original UI. We are working on an adjustment to the washed out theme colors, making wisps or similar elements with transparency elements faint in the classic. Good news! There is one unmentioned bug fix, which I noticed, the loading screen of the maps. Before the patch, after loading the map, game right away forced its way in. There was missing this message, press any key to continue, and I usually didn't have a time to read the description of the map. This is still affecting custom and melee maps. You might have noticed that you could see briefly a loading screen of a custom map, and then it switches to the black screen and it stays that way often even for a minute or so. Problem is that game is simply trying to force its way inside while other players are still loading the map. Instead of this black screen, you should have a loading screen with a message saying, waiting for the other players. But this seems to be fixed just for the single player at the moment. Alright, the Skywars patch notes. After the new patch I always go through the word editor and I'm trying to find the new changes or new additions. I have something to show you this time as well, but before it, I would like to mention something that made me very excited during this weekend. Carbot announced Warcraft 3 series. If by any chance you don't know who Carbot is, well, he's making a short funny animations about games and has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So besides amazing videos, there might be a lot of new players pouring into the game thanks to him.
Ready to work. Righto. Job's done.
Alright, we are in the game now, and again I have to warn you that the models I'm going to show you might not have been added to the game by the most recent patch, but there's quite a good chance that they've been already in the game and I simply didn't notice them before. But anyway, they are new to me, so there is a good chance that they might be new to you, so here they are. First models are this Berserker Elemental and this Enraged Elemental. I didn't really saw them before. I was even wondering if they've been part of the classic Warcraft 3. And it turns out that they really were in the classic Warcraft 3, but they had a shared model with the Water Elemental, so they've been quite hard to distinguish from the other Water Elementals. Now they have their own unique model and Reforged. And they kinda remind me of a Jinn from Aladdin. I really have that vibe from it a little bit. We can here as well see that this model is probably not very finished. We can see the particle effects of that, whatever it's that, tornado, which is missing here, so it will probably added, enhanced, changed. Simply it's not finished as of now. We can put it to little action. Let's go for attack here, just see it quickly. Actually, they have a water bolt of water elemental. They still share the same attack with water elemental. Right, that's enough. And second, or another model I've noticed just now is this Draenei Demolisher. In Classic Warcraft 3, Draeneis really had their Demolishers, but this Demolisher has been sharing model with the Orcish Demolisher. Now this Demolisher has its own unique look. And what we can see here, they have this kind of spikes, probably made of some sort of crystals. And it's kind of a unique siege weapon, really. There's nothing like this in the Warcraft 3. You have a lot of different kinds of siege weapons, but nothing like this. It's kind of disc being pulled by strings. We can see that it's not very synchronized at this moment. It's like the boulder is already flying away before actually that disc reaches point. You see it from a little afar. Alright, well, that's it then. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show is actually, this was mentioned to me by players in the comment. So this was not added by the most recent patch, but the previous patch, but it wasn't covered in the video, so here it is. And people noticed that actually that was changed to the Doomguard. You can see here that this guy is wearing shoulder pads, this guy is not. And the difference between these two is that one was a summoned unit and one was like... one was probably like created by that demon portal, or placed to the world by the word editor, so there's now the distinction between these two. Before this patch, they actually... one of them had different model. That model, I believe it wasn't finished, but it was a different model. Now it seems that they have the same model, but it's more like a different skin of a sort. Well, that's it, this is a new change. There's as well change with the previous patch, no with the most recent patch, but with the previous patch of the hippogriffs. There was a lot of complaints about how they are looking now as a parrot. They actually had mixture of those, in those wigs there was simply the orange color, which was now removed by the most recent patch, and you can see some variations. It kind of looks way better, I would say, much less like parrot. Still here, this is kind of interesting because there's this hard teal color, so when teal player is actually playing Night Elves, it's like the whole wing of a hippogriff is in teal color. It's kind of hard to say what is this guy team's color, I would say, but well, there's the change. And another thing that was again mentioned in the comments, there was update for the Fel Orcs colors. Before it was like that their skin color was more plain, it was hard to notice, there was as well a lot of complaints about it. So they as well updated to more to the likeness of the players. Here we can see how it looks now actually. I think that it looks really better. Scott is really amazing. What do we have here? There's Peon, or War Chief. Blade Master of the Black Rock. I don't think that he was changed, but I kinda did notice this. You see that the protection of jaw. It looks like the thing that actually Doomhammer was wearing in the World of Warcraft, I believe. Looked quite similar. He had this kind of, not the helm, but a collar that was protecting his jaw. It's quite epic. And here is a new Chromage Hellscream model. I mean, with the new color, he looks like this right now. Alright, another thing, there was a lot of questions actually about the Ice Revenant, if they're updating these models, because before this update, or update before, I really don't know when this change happened, but there was missing this glow, which you can, this particle effects, this fire, this frost here, all that was missing, and people have been really worried because it was looking quite weird. It was like just empty hollow inside of them. But now the particle effects were added to them, and I personally believe that this is really coming in nicely. They look really amazing. Okay, let's take a close look on each of them. Here we have Frost Revenant, here is Ice Revenant. It seems that these two guys share the same thing, but it kind of makes sense, right? Ice, Frost, it's basically the same thing. This is a Fire Revenant. I really love this one, this Lightning Revenant, that's really epic, that effect. This one should be Revenant with Death. Death Revenant, sorry, that's the correct name. And here we have Revenant of the Tides, of the Seas, of the Depths, and Deep Lord Revenant. And that's it. That's all the changes I personally found. So this kinda concludes this video, so I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. And remember, if you acknowledge any gods, you know what to do.